Probably added 1,000.
Well, tell Mueller that because he's still got 3 houses on
Yeah,
the other.
I
Mueller,
can plant fast.
he's got 3 houses,
So it takes me about half
Test.
the time. it
still
does
down
somebody
Dalton,
else.
just finished one.
call the meeting to order at the crack of 5:52. Any citizens in? No. Any citizens input? One of these days, you're just going to stand up and say something.
When I retire, I will.
Not let that.
And by the way, you guys don't respond to your emails. Any delegations? Approve the minutes from our last meeting.
So move.
Thanks, Joe. I'll second it. Any discussion? All in favor, say aye. Aye. Minutes are approved. Financial reports. Make this exciting.
Revenue for the cemetery, we're down a little bit, but a lot of that is just last year we had a fair amount of columbarium sales. This year we just haven't had any. Lot sales are down a little bit too. Expenses are slightly down also for the cemetery. So in the long run of it, I'm not too concerned about it, but just the way things are. Sometimes some of these numbers too, though, it's just a matter of when they get deposited. They might not have quite have hit this month's financials, so there might be a little bit in that too. For the bills for the cemetery, there really wasn't anything in there unless if somebody has a question. Pretty run-of-the-mill stuff. Nothing on the cemetery.
Looks good.
Okay. As far as the community gardens, as of Friday, we have sold out all of the garden spots.
Awesome.
So it's the first time we've done that in a couple of years. So for the golf course, revenue is down about $4,500 there again. Just because I can see all of that on this. We're still about $4,500 behind, but essentially we were pretty much even with last year. Membership's down about 3,500, punch cards down 1,600, cart storage down, trail fees down, tournament sponsors, ad revenue. Tournament sponsors, we just haven't had anything yet this year. Cart storage, we're down. We've had a couple individuals that have decided to lease carts from us. So that's part of that, along with trail fees also. But since, we've had even the first 8 days of May, things have just been rolling, so.
In April, really didn't see much nice days for people to be out. We just haven't, to be where we're at is pretty good.
Yeah.
Greens fees and cart rentals are both up, so.
Everybody's coming out and paying green fees and cart fees right now.
So as far as revenue, comparative-wise with last year, we're pretty even. Comparative-wise, if you go back 2 years, we're behind a little bit that year, but that year we were open in March, and but last year we overtook the year before, so things are looking pretty good revenue-wise. Expense-wise, part-time is slightly up. It probably should be even higher than that, but we had a late start, and then just haven't had a lot of availability of kids yet up until I had 3 new guys start today. So Brooks' contract is up a little. That's probably just last year that just hadn't gone through, and this year it did. So by the end of the month. So repair and maintenance is down. Supplies are up. Chemicals are down. Gas is down. Software. Well, big part of why it's a little skewed from last year is because last year we had the irrigation computer. At this point, we had a $15,000 bill for that, so that's why we're significantly down from last year, but we didn't have that budgeted, so. So if you're just looking at year-to-date last year to this year, that's why. Any question on that so far? Okay.
Some memberships down, but greens are up. How
Yep.
much greens are new people? Like, is there a lot of new people showing up?
Yeah. And a lot of it was, I'd say youth rates too, when college is still, now that college is done, but a lot of those D-Dub, MTI kids, when school's still in session, they come out at 3:30, 4 o'clock, and they continually come because they're gonna be leaving in a week, and they don't get memberships or anything. But other than that, I mean, there's some out-of-town people. I'm trying to think who else is all been out there for new faces. Some of them are fresh faces I've seen for years that just don't get a membership and pay as they go.
How
But
many
then
memberships are we?
new memberships, I mean, we're up new memberships, but there's also, like, when I get to my report, but, I mean, we're up in new memberships, from City Fund Pass memberships to regular golf memberships, and there's also a lot of people that haven't gotten their memberships yet this year. And it'll kind of be interesting to see with school going until May 26th, a lot of people wait till school's out for the summer to come get their membership. Well, now school going to almost June, see what those guys or families do with their membership stuff. But even since my reports and probably the financial report in the 5, 6, 8 days we've had in May, there's been a lot of people out that have gotten their memberships now since then, so.
Yeah, for it raining all day Saturday, we had a pretty good day, so.
Golf or baseball.
But yeah, we just had a lot of, even on some of the marginal days, we've had pretty good play,
There
so.
was one Sunday, I think Dan played, it was marginal at best for weather-wise. It was 54 degrees, and it was 140, 153 golfers that day, and it really was not that nice. I mean, you played, Dan, that day, and
That's Sunday, yeah.
it was completely full that whole day. So,
What's considered a full day? I mean, how many people would be an average?
well, on a full day, I would say is about 180 people, but I mean, if every tee time has 4 guys per tee time going through, or a lot of them are 2 sums, few singles, 3 sums, on a full day, you fit 250 to 270 on there, if every group is a foursome coming through. But I mean, that's squeezing people in between tee times, and I mean, the tee sheet just fills up quicker with the online booking. It fills up quicker than it normally did, and each year since COVID, each year I've seen increase in new people and just the number of people playing in general.
And the range has been nuts also.
Hit hard.
So.
I think because we're almost, I did range memberships this morning, we're almost at for the single adult range pass, I think we're almost at what we were last year for individuals with that, and there's probably 20 to 25 more people out there that get range passes. And the range is busy all.
And we're up, just in range balls, not memberships, we're up $6,000 from last year. So,
And we
Don't
didn't,
make no sense.
we didn't increase prices on individual buckets or anything. The only thing we increased was range membership, and that only went up $10. And it's just, it gets hit hard,
And that's all the crappy weather.
even with the crappy weather. And I don't know if it was the circulation of the new range balls that people knew we had brand new range balls out there that they wanted to come hit the range. I don't know.
well, and we had multiple teams. We had 2 college teams from North Dakota come down to play a 2-day event between each other because they couldn't play up there. We had some from out west in Aberdeen come to get on the course because they couldn't get on there. So that's part of it too, so. But anyways. Anything else before we go to bills? There again on bills, it's pretty much run-of-the-mill stuff. Electric bills, fuel's down a little bit, but that's more just because of how it's billed now through.
How bad did fertilizer go up for you?
Not too bad, actually. It's come down here really recently, so it's it was actually one of.
Rebook it, did you have to pay at that price if it goes down?
Well, I can't pre-book it in the fall, so I just buy it. Either I do it right at the first of the year, or I wait a little bit. This year I waited, and just talking to my salesman and everything, and actually when I finally did pull the trigger on my Fairway fertilizer, it went down another $1.50 that week before, so I got it probably cheaper than even the guys. It usually doesn't happen this way, but the guys that bought last fall, I probably got it cheaper than what they did, so,
Because it went down that much?
yeah, so it's all rolling the dice, so. Let's see. Yeah, I looked at the bills before I came here, and like I said, there was nothing that really stuck out that was out of the ordinary. Got a couple repair stuff for the range picker. That was about $650. It seems like we've gone through a lot of batteries this year. Just batteries and batteries and batteries, so. Last year it was seats and tires, so. Kind of, when you got used equipment, that's the way it goes, so.
Did?
Unless somebody's got questions.
Motion to approve the financials?
So moved. Second.
Any discussion? All in favor, say aye. Approved. Clubhouse report.
Pretty much explained it there in that little bit during the revenue report, but I'll reiterate, opened over Easter weekend, probably had in April, I'd say 7, 8 real decent days to golf. There were people out on the nastier days or colder days. Like I said too, I mean, I've just seen increase from year to year, from 20, 21, 22 to this year, the number of players coming through. And back 5, 6 years ago, evenings were completely dead. And now even tonight as I left golf course, I mean, it just fills in quicker and quicker, which is good to see. We did the revenue report. Rounds, membership numbers, I kind of put in there in the membership numbers at the end of April what we were last year. So we were total membership, we're at 384. Last year at this time we were at 331. But a lot of that is a lot of new fun passes that they pay by the month. So I mean, it skews the overall revenue part of it. But we're at 384, 40 total new members, and that's with families of 5 and stuff getting fun passes. And I wouldn't say a lot of the fun passes that have come through, but a majority of them are families I either haven't seen out there, or I just don't know who they are yet or anything. But like I was talking with Jason this morning, like at the end of April we were at 115 for single adult. Now we're up to, since May started, we're up to 138 single memberships. Couples we're up to 98, I believe, couple memberships. Colleges went up. Students, now we're up to 25 or 26 student memberships. Family, I didn't look at that one, but I'm sure we're up in that one. So we're continually to catch back up on that. I'm not sure where we'll be at. End of May, usually first part of June to middle of June, memberships kind of come to a halt. People stop getting memberships, and that's when you see the spike in, say, punch cards and stuff, and we're already into the season that far. So far, I've done, with that new 18-hole punch card we put in April, we did one. Since May, I've gotten 3 or 4 more of those 18-hole punch cards that people have gotten. Rounds, we actually have more rounds this April than we did last April, but it's, yeah, it's, the weekends, I would say right now, like on Saturday, we had 125 rounds on Saturday, which was a little down because I think everybody thought it was going to be raining. On Sunday, we did 183 rounds yesterday, and that's a good weekend number. And there's some weekdays we have 146, 145. Today was a little slower. We're probably going to do about 80 to 85 rounds today. But I think like your first day back, we were pretty busy that Wednesday, and that was 156 rounds, I think, that day. So, I mean, we still get weekdays, too, that fill in quick. There's going to be hit or miss. Some weekdays are going to be slower. I'm guessing Mondays are going to be a little bit slower weekdays after the weekend, but it's picking up pretty good, so helps revenue numbers, and I mean, we're squeezing people in, and like I said too, a lot of the tee times, I mean, I'd love for, in a perfect world, every group to be a foursome. I think that's not going to work. There might be some weekends where we are overly packed, and I'm going to just basically sit on the first tee and tell people that they're going to start playing together so we can fit more people, especially on open weekends when we're getting busy and everybody wants to play. When our tee sheet fills up quick, we can fit another 100 people on the golf course in foursomes. So,
By matchmaking.
you know,
You do it everywhere.
I know they do, and it's just hard here to. I mean, in smaller towns, I mean, it's just hard to. People want to play with who they want to play with, or some people aren't as good as others, so they don't want to embarrass them with another group. So that's kind of where we're at. And May looks relatively promising for weather-wise. I mean, it's 70s consistently now, chances of rain every once in a while, but
Next 5 days, we did get the first 4, so.
yeah. Other than that, all the college kids are back here starting kind of this weekend, and next week. I got all my college kids back in, and this week we got Marchand Cup is tomorrow. That's the duel between Yankton and Mitchell at 2 o'clock tomorrow. We have the ladies opening scramble on Wednesday in the evening. There's a Callaway fitting day on Thursday on the range, and then Friday is the Mitchell High School girls varsity meet on Friday at 10:30. And nothing over the weekend. So. That's pretty much all I've got.
Before we start on the superintendent's report, since you guys are both here, is there any chance we could get a couple of buckets of water on the range for club cleaning?
So the reason why I haven't lately is because whenever I put them out there, people throw garbage in them every single time. And yes, I can, but
You could do it
So-
less fancy if you want. I can put an ice cream pail with a brush on it out there. I don't know how, I mean, that would look, but, 'cause I mean, I got all these old club brushes that we can put a little pail out there with a brush hanging off the end of it. I don't know how fancy, you know, Jason's got the big green ones that you dip your club in.
I think just a 5-gallon bucket with a club scrubber tied to a string on it is fine. I don't even like, personally, the green ones with the club scrubber in there. It doesn't always fit.
yeah.
Just maybe 2 5-gallon buckets with water and a brush.
So it's a range?
Yeah.
You can label them, put 2 5-gallon buckets side by side. One is garbage, the other one's club scrubber.
I don't know.
Well, the other ones, the green ones that you were talking about, yeah, I could see where they look like a garbage can.
Yeah.
To a non-golfing person, but
Yeah.
just a simple bucket with water.
Okay.
You
Yep.
gotta commend them for at least trying to throw the garbage away.
Yeah.
Well, that's one way to look at it.
Yeah.
I think I got a couple green Menards bucket or 5-gallon buckets that I can put on their club brushing or club cleaning or
Sure.
Yeah, we'll get that done.
Cool.
I thought you were a guy that liked to cake on the dirt on grass stains on your club.
No, I take my towel out there and I scrub them down about every 3 shots, and I'm like, where's the water? I gotta go all the way to the clubhouse.
Just got to play in the morning when they're due.
That's gross.
Just got new clubs.
I did, I know.
What do you use, Joe, when you're out there?
What do I use?
Beer.
That was a joke.
I'm not out there.
Big.
You're up.
For the cemetery, the Kiwanis Baby Monument project is in progress. It's the heart, 2 foot wide cement in the heart shape. They've got the 2 main parts coming down to point done. They're forming up the 2 lobes for it. I would assume if weather holds out, it should be done here sometime this week.
Isn't that Exchange, not Kiwanis?
Oh, yes, it is. Sorry. That's my bad.
My wife will appreciate Kiwanis getting credit for
Yeah.
that, but.
Yep, you're right. I was wrong. Yep. We'll change that in the minutes.
That was the project that wasn't brought to us and went right to council, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Just want to clarify that.
Let's see. We borrowed a bucket truck from the Parks Department. We had it for a couple days and got some trouble trees that were over monuments and stuff, so we could bring them down slowly. So I thank them for that. Been packing graves, fertilizing certain parts of the cemetery. Probably start up the pumps for the cemetery this week sometime and get the waterfall cleaned out and running. Monument companies are setting a lot right now. Essentially just getting geared up for Memorial Day. I don't know if you guys knew it, but John Thurman is moving on to the engineering department here and as an engineering tech. But we'll have him till the 11th. We're advertising for the position right now. It's open till the end of the week. So I just want to say he's been a good employee and wish him the best. And so. For the community gardens, as I said, as of Friday, we were totally sold out of spots. Even the kind of marginal spots that we've been kind of holding off on. Tilling and staking was done last week. It was opened up last Tuesday by the end of the day. Had to add some dirt to some sections. Tiller and tractor both broke down in the process of it, so we had to do a rental to get them finished tilled. So for the golf course, most of the irrigation issues are fixed. Got a few yet. We're working on some mainly electrical issues, valves and decoder issues. So fertilized greens last week. Actually did a spray application on them today. Been working with Mr. Norby and the irrigation designer. All that is going to advertisement for the bid process this week or next week. I'm having to look for a new sand supplier. Our sand supplier down in Nebraska is going out of business, so just kind of struggling with that a little bit, trying to find a decent, comparable product. Got a few options, looking into them though yet. Tractor and mower are at John Deere, should have them next week. The one greens mower should be being built right now. Haven't heard yet when it will arrive. pretty much all new staff this year. I've only got one younger guy coming back, so it's a lot of training. DW had a service day on the 2nd. 7 kids from the golf team came and did some branch cleanup, so I want to thank them. We actually set the waterfall pump on Monday, or no, Friday. Got it set in, haven't got it all hooked up yet, so probably sometime this week we'll get that running. Just starting to get into schedule, regular routine stuff. The new range balls are in circulation. Had to fix a couple personal cart shed doors. There's one that totally got replaced. We got a couple more we got to look at. Kevin Thurman came in and helped fix some bathroom fans, donated his time. And then the forward T construction will hopefully start here shortly. We had some bad spots in the fairways and some tees. Those areas are starting to come back. We did some seeding in those areas. My plan is for some spots, if they don't come back, as we start doing some of these forward tees, using that sod on some of those areas. So other than that,
What's going on with number 7?
the tee box, I think is a combination of just got big snow mound on it, and it just didn't take the winter well. There's probably a lot of POA in it.
Did you plug it a little bit or something?
We seeded it. So I spiked it a couple weeks ago, and we seeded it. I was expecting rain this weekend, so we got a bunch seeded on Friday.
That was kind of my question. Do we have the irrigation hit that?
Yep,
It does.
yep.
Because it
So-
looks just really dry. It looks like it really needs
Yeah.
some moisture on it.
Are you talking today, or?
I was talking today when it was out there. It just
Oh.
looks-
I thought I had set it to water, tee boxes to water last night, but I didn't, so that's,
Okay, 'cause it looked, I think it
Yeah.
looked really, really dry.
Yep.
It would need to be okay.
yep.
Salem wants the same thing.
No. I've,
School's gonna look just like our 7.
yep, I've heard a lot of no greens in the area, but a lot of tee boxes and spots in fairways, so.
I heard Howard lost wall to wall.
Really.
Greens.
Well, they said wall to wall, so I have not, it's perfect, their first thing.
I didn't see a lot of snow mold. I think it's more either got covered with ice and just snuffed it out, or just a lot of snow, or it could be a combination of factors. So, but it doesn't change the fact you just got to get it back to normal. So.
Does it hurt having people play on it now?
I've got the tee boxes kind of set forward and behind those spots, and hopefully keep them off. I might get to the point, if it gets beat up enough, I might have to put them up in the fairway for a short period of time. So, but yeah, traffic on it ain't the best, but well,
I noticed even Elmwood today, I played the East 9, but they had a lot of dead spots in the fairways, patches.
And that's all new grass.
Yeah. Yeah, there was significant brown spots.
It's right for snow, you can get to those freezing hours, January.
Yeah.
anything on my report then, or questions about the course?
Joel, how do you like your new shed door?
Good, works great.
What'd you do to the other one?
Shed door? I don't know, what'd you do the other
I don't know what happened.
It
Came off the tracks.
came off the tracks.
Oh,
and it-
what, I thought you,
Yeah.
after, yeah, it came
No.
off the tracks.
Yeah.
It was
And
all bent up.
We had Upper Midwest Garage Door came out and they looked at it and they just said there ain't no fixing it, so.
Those shed doors were, old. I mean, I don't know how old those shed doors are, but the sheds are old. I don't know how old the tracks are.
So,
They're just getting beat up.
Okay, let's go on to the phase 2 plan.
So right now, like I said before, we're in the process of getting everything ready for the bid process. These are essentially the final plans that are up here. As we talked before, the original date that Norby had set was July 8th. We pushed that back to July 15th, I believe. And at that point, what we're going to do is we'll start on the new par 314. This year, we'll get the 2 forward tees done for 15. So while that's being built, we'll play 15 from the 2 forward tees. And then the rest of the construction will not commence until after the member guest on the 29th is the plan, so.
You guys can do which pages you want me to post on here.
And that's in 24.
2024, so no, the only construction that will happen this year is forward tee boxes and these 2 tees for number 15. So, which one of them is actually up in right on the curve of the current dog leg. So that will probably just get mowed down a little tighter and we'll just make it work, so. And I'll probably just make that a little bigger so that it has a little more wear area, so. And the other tee box, I'll probably make a little bit bigger than what we would have that tee. And then or when we do get approved and we do move the tees back, essentially that forward tee in the fairway, that'll just get absorbed by the fairway, and then we may just end up with 5 tee boxes on that hole, or we can take that other one out. So, depending on how everything lines up. So what we got up here is number 11. And
Any good
No- no.
with that green and the drainage thing, they got that figured out?
Yep, so the drainage will essentially go to the left of the green.
Where
And
that sand trap is kinda?
it'll be to the left of that, yeah. So the bunker will be higher than what that space will be. If we have a major event, yeah, it could go into the bunker, but I guess that's just something you just gotta live with, so.
The
Tell me
elevations.
about the amount of light, sunlight to get to that green.
For behind the trees behind the green, we're gonna take out a couple trees. You can see the 2 big X's, we're gonna take out 2 there. That's gonna fulfill 2 things. More sunlight getting through, and then maybe a little bit of a visual towards the lake. It'll look into that bay by the Indian Village. So, as you can see, to the left of the bunker, there's a couple drain basins. And then that is lower than the bunker by about 3 feet, 4 feet on the top side. So, and that's the surface. So, I mean, the drain basin's actually going to be down in the ground. So, so everything should flow to that side.
that green's gonna have a right to left tilt to it.
Yep. Yep, it'll be, yeah,
Perfect, this may-
79.1 on one side and 80.8 on the other, so, I mean, there's different points along there and different,
Here, they put in all new stuff, where they
Yes.
took out some of the old and put it in. Yeah.
so if, you move down just a little bit further down.
What's that?
So where the bend is, we'll hook into the old. I was kind of hoping to essentially, that like this whole hole, just all brand new irrigation. Kevin didn't think that it was in the budget to do that, so we kind of tried to balance it, and then if, well, and you'll see here, we had some alternate options also. So if the bids come in at the right number, we can kind of add some of them and stuff, so. One of the alternates on this portion is, we talked about before, the cart pass. The plan right now is just to do them gravel right now. I would, and I think everybody would like to see, make sure that they're paved right away, so hopefully if the bids come in.
Does he prefer pavement over cement?
It just depends on what we have to match up and the cost. So he kind of thought that maybe concrete might be less, but
Heck of a lot more permanent.
yeah. Yep. Yeah, you don't have, I mean, it's,
It's like when we keep adding to our pavement pretty quick.
yeah,
We're getting 3-4 inch raises.
yep. Yeah, and some of those are to the point where we can't just add any more on top because it's that much of a difference and it's a tripping hazard and we just need if they need to be brought back down and
Yeah.
So what's the purpose of doing gravel? Because that's, I mean, versus nothing. I mean, I'd rather see nothing out there than
yeah.
gravel.
So it's grass.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Well, but, I mean, if you're eventually going to pave it or cement it, why put gravel down to start with? I mean, is that what your base is gonna be
Yeah.
to begin with?
yeah, so it'll be the base. So it's going to be exactly where a cart path is, but,
I'm with you. The gravel, they shouldn't put nothing. You got a pavement, then you put gravel down. Because you're gonna be down 4 inches,
Right.
so they're not gonna take gravel that bad. You're gonna rip the gravel out and put the cement in.
And
Yeah.
the old places out there like on 10 and 13 that were gravel at one time, there's still gravel there.
mm,
And it's just a mess.
yeah,
And I'd say, let them scatter with the carts and do something on the tee boxes and by the greens to funnel the traffic there.
Do we have to have trail or car pass? Do we have to have that? Or is that for years, for the basin, or is it?
You know, with the amount of play that we're getting and this particular area is fairly gravelly to begin with, so if it doesn't have moisture all the time, the cart traffic can just wear it down so you don't have very good turf. Can a guy go without it? Yeah.
To me, the one thing positive of the wall-to-wall cart pass is Lakeview never closes the cart service. It's just say stay on the cart pass, you know, like, 3 holes that you don't need it are 10, 11, and 12. Because I've never seen water problem there. Gravel base, slope down, but you get over there, you know where the water holes are, all the way from 2 to 16. And that's the nice part. These other ones closed up, like you'll still driving. That's the positive of the cart pass, 13 don't need it, except for your work spots. Well, 13 don't have it except for your,
Neither does 10.
what did.
Right.
Used to go down to, used to pick it up about 75 yards.
It would
within a
split.
grass grover,
Yep.
hasn't been dug out. And then, 8 years ago, Eric, they dug it up and put dirt in at 10. It probably used to go 200 yards maybe? You know, where Wayne threw it up
Right,
there.
yep.
Right where your
But that's
club's
kind of
in
my
rocks now.
point is, that's a perfect example where the cart paths aren't really needed. And you don't see a lot of wear and tear on
You
10.
mostly run rough anyway.
Once they split off ladies, 2 bucks, I agree.
Probably the first 150 yards.
Is there a general consensus that people want a car pass out there?
I guess it's more to the point of, like you said, when we get in a rain event, we don't have to close down totally, so it's not really consensus that people want them, it's more of a matter of an operational standpoint to keep things rolling. Other part of that is for my equipment, if I have some heavier equipment, I can keep it on the path.
Tractors and the likes.
Yeah. So,
I like until I bounce my golf ball off.
Yeah. Get that Lakeview logo.
Good for golf ball sales.
Scourge.
I'm not saying this to be against cart paths. I think there's a place for them, and you've highlighted those. My concern is putting down gravel that you're gonna either have to tear out, or for whatever reason, it doesn't get done, and we've got gravel cart paths, and
I agree with you
I think that's a waste.
on that whole.
so are you saying that if it goes through and we can get it as an alternate, you want it? Or you're saying you don't want it at all?
Well, they,
Either
With the seams
asphalt
now-
or cement.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But if it doesn't come down to being able to be fit into the budget, you don't want anything,
Okay,
correct?
I don't want a gravel cart path.
And I agree with that. I'm not,
You say you just.
How far are you
Into the box
from
and
cement?
Yeah.
Next.
after you
Yeah.
get the course rebuilt, can't that be a project, putting cement down on some of these holes then?
I'd,
Hold for 2 years that you don't tear it up too bad?
me personally, I'd like to see cement on the whole thing. I mean, it looks
Well, I
nice, it's
agree, but I
functional,
mean,
but,
if you can't do it right now.
right.
I'm just saying, how much wear and tear are we gonna do to it?
you're gonna need cement right on the curb again, from the green going to 13.
Yeah. yeah.
See, 12 would be.
Well, and you got to remember, this is all going to be brand new turf right after this opens up, and if we don't have availability of cart pass, we might want to hold off opening it up, giving it another week or two possibly. I don't know that until the time comes, but
Almost like the spring, when we're first getting open, and the first few days are usually car pass only, just to give the ground either time to dry up or to save from the wear and tear on grass just starting to grow. I don't know what year it was when car
Well,
pass.
what if you
put in
were to
gravel.
Go with signs coming off these holes to direct people into the rough.
You want to know my true opinion on that?
Rope is the only thing that works.
How many people read signs?
You can't play golf right now, right?
Right.
We've got our marshal. I can't think of a better
I mean,
person.
you know, you go to some golf courses, you can't leave the cart paths.
Yep.
In case your ball's on the other side, you walk 35, 40 yards over to that shop.
What was it, 2-3 years ago over the member guests? I don't know if you played in that one where we were cart pass the whole tournament. And
Yeah.
everybody followed it to a T except for one guy, but we were full cart pass because we got tons of rain over that Friday, Saturday. We were full cart pass, and I think if we wouldn't have had the cart pass, I don't know if we wouldn't have been able to take carts out on the course that tournament day.
They're nice on the majority of the holes.
I mean, it doesn't happen very often that we need to be cart pass only, or we have 4 inches, 5 inches of rain that it doesn't,
Yeah.
but there are occasions that it benefits the course and the tournament or the play.
Do you
Probably.
remember what caused that, when you get it back?
What's that? The
Rain.
Yeah. I guess my suggestion on this is, if you're gonna put gravel where that cart path is, in anticipation of either paving it or cementing it, and have the money to do it, great. If you're not gonna have the money to do it, I'd say stake off the fairway and drive in the rough, and, because to have that for a year or two with just gravel, I think is,
And I don't argue that a bit.
I mean, a sign saying, please stay to the right of this or something like that until you get to your ball. You go down to it.
yeah. I mean,
I'm sure there's gonna be guys
Right.
straight down the middle of the fairway.
and most people will abide. You're always gonna have
You
people
get the
that.
majority.
Yep,
Signs are for the 1%.
yeah. You know, it's kind of like texting and driving. If you make that law, 90% of the people are gonna abide by it, just because whether they agree with it or not, they're gonna do it.
The turn up by the green will turn the mud in 1 month to dirt. You know, if it's gonna be that sharp,
Oh, yeah,
that'd be the only place it has to get poured that way.
sure.
And those trees are staying there, right, below the curb, so it's not like you can cut that corner necessarily, right?
We're to the right of the current cart path?
Yeah.
Where are you
right below
talking?
Those trees right there, there's below it.
Oh, yeah, there's going to be a couple there, yep.
Well, I guess that's far off anyway to do that.
Yeah.
Yeah, you are gonna beat the bejesus out of that corner.
Tires will turn. New,
Tires turning,
new,
people getting in and out of
new
cars,
seating.
you know. and spikes.
One, they won't turn right there because they're gonna go to the pin. You know, like 15, I may turn and stay on 15 cart path, and they go back to where the pin's at.
But that's repairable. Throwing gravel all over the course, it's tough to recapture it again.
That'd be tough more, too.
And then on this one right here, I see the, if you call that tan colors to the left and going up 12 fairway. That's slated for, to save a little bit of money on it for us to kill that off and reseed that down the road. So I'm not going to do anything with current Levin Green until essentially this is ready to go. Just in case if we need the sod for whatever, or we need to play it for just a little bit.
Don't forget to put a tree in that fairway bunker right between the green and the bunker.
That's where I was going to put the,
That still drives me nuts on 9.
so other than that,
Looks good.
the number 13 tees are, and we'll be utilizing part of the original plan had the cart path coming up, existing 12 fairway, was kind of meandering up through there. We're going to try to use the current cart path as much as possible to save some costs. So if you go down just a little bit, this gives a little more detail to the greens, a little easier to read. If these numbers mean anything to you.
I don't wanna belabor the fact anymore, but if we're gonna if we're eventually gonna do a cart path down there, can we just pour that little island down there so that we don't cut up that corner and just not do anything with the rest of it?
But when you drop off that concrete into the turf,
Yeah. So that's probably better than nothing, but as soon as you drop off that and you're coming onto that, it's going to just start wearing
Yeah.
out away from it, no matter where you do that at.
Yeah, you're right.
Especially that close to the green, because I mean, it's different on a tee box where you have plenty of area to go scatter here, 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 here. But coming up to the green, it's,
Nobody's gonna park there, take a look at it. It's just like 15. Look where the pin's at right now, that brown dot. That's the pin. Where 95% of the people drive, Jason.
We'll drive up and be even with
Sure, 100%, they ain't gonna turn there. Who stops on 15 on the curb path?
it. Oh, when you get the marshal out there.
What about if you're deep left?
The rule follower.
When you get a marshal out there, Matt will take care of that.
Out there.
Good part-time job for you, Joe.
There'd be one reason why I wouldn't do a curb path, because to me, down the road, you're gonna wanna go about to the middle of the green and then take a right to 13T. That's gonna be in the wrong spot. Or you're gonna have a lot of dirt years to come. And putting on it, it'll let you know where to put the curb paths.
anything else on 11 or 12?
He looks good.
I'll go to 14. So one thing that's been addressed is if you look to the right of the green on 14, there's a blue line that goes from each of the ponds and links in. As of right now, there is no overflows from either of those ponds. So the hope is that we have enough drop, we can hook into those ponds, run by number 14 and drop into number 3 pond. We will have to drop the pond on 3 by about a foot or so to make this work. But we had to redo the drainage on number 14 a couple different ways. Had one idea that didn't pan out, and this is an issue that I brought up to Norby, that these ponds do not have drains. If we do get heavy rains, there's no overflows. So to kind of kill 2 birds with 1 stone, the drainage from 14 will hook into this and go down to the pond. So the other option was to build up the whole hole a couple feet and make it work that way, but yep. As of right now, we're still 1,000 yards short of dirt, so for this part of the project. As of right now, 11 and 12, all the dirt's going to be utilized from what's on the site down there, except for greens mix and maybe some black dirt to top things off. So, otherwise, so the back of the tee actually will back up into kind of the areas where the equipment area, or where I did have equipment. I'll back up into there a little bit. At
You're
some
talking which one now?
14.
14?
Yep. So where the forward tee is there, you can see that curve. That's the current cart path or bike path. Yep. So it's going to be kind of back that way a little ways. The actual green is, gotta orient myself. So the current red and white tee boxes would be on the back left corner of this green. So just kind of orientate yourself on where this is actually located. So
This is 14?
this is the new 14. So a brand new hole.
Basically, where 15 tees at now.
Yep.
Right on the other side of the bathroom.
Okay.
Any questions on 14?
Looks good.
We addressed that, didn't we, Jason?
What's that?
Proximity of 16 and 14.
Yeah, so,
What's that?
so when it was first done, the green was actually shifted over to the right, and there was immediate concerns about the proximity to 16 green. Not necessarily the short shots coming in, the guys that dub it off the tee and they're trying to come in from 200 yards
Yes, would be 13 would be.
on 16, yeah.
13 is
So it's shifted over, I would say where the left edge of the green is about where that black dot in the middle of the green is. So it's not shifted a lot, but I think it's enough. And part of why it was kind of left a little bit hugging the right side there a little bit is to make it so that the next tees are not in danger and the cart path will flow getting over to it. And, so, anything else on 14?
Norm, he's all good with all this,
Yep.
He's the guy that's drawn it, he's got all those concerns.
Yep. I've had multiple conversations with them on different aspects of this. I voiced my concerns, he's voiced his concerns. We've met in the middle on a few things I'm like, okay, I don't totally agree with it, but I understand what you're talking about type of thing, so. One of the things that I kind of wanted to do is, so are we done on 14? Okay. So one of the things that I talked to him about, if you see here on 15 where the little bit darker green is, we got that, and then there's the little bit to the right. So 14 green right there. Okay. So I kind of wanted to regrass that entire area where the two darker greens meet each other. There again, he thought that budget-wise, we were kind of getting tight, not knowing how the bids would come in. So what my plan is that area in between, starting this spring, I'm going to start overseeding that to a comparable low-mow bluegrass to try to blend it in with those areas when they do them. And if you go just a little more, so there is some drainage issues on that fairway, and that's what this alternate is to add some drain pipe in there, just to, and it's really only a problem on really heavy rains, but, yep. So there again, that's an alternate, that's something that if everything falls into line and the bids come in under what we think, and we still have some money to work with, we can do a couple of those, so. I didn't bring the documents with me, but there is a couple of items like that are possible to do. It's just a matter of how the bids come in.
Do we think we pretty much have the drainage issues on 16 up by the green figured out?
So,
And the reason I'm asking now, I'm not trying to jump ahead, but with the new 14, like, is that going to push more water into 16 is what I'm asking.
so it shouldn't, because there's that kind of low lying area between the green, 16 green and
14.
14.
Okay.
And then with this pipe coming across, I should be able to do some drainage in 16 and hook into that down the road. So no, the drainage problems with 16 are not being addressed on this.
But it's not gonna make them worse though either.
No,
Okay.
I don't think so.
Okay.
One of your original drawings, wasn't there gonna be around like, around 5, wasn't there like a pond, was there a pond gonna be in there somewhere?
Yeah, that's in like phase 5.
No, that'd be in phase 3. There was
But there's
a,
a pond kind of going,
between 5 green and 4T.
right.
Yep.
Okay.
And that would be the phase after this one.
And would that help your, or not?
If done right, yes, but the main problem with a lot of the drainage issues is everything's so flat. And if you don't have the fall, because remember, the pipe's in the ground that you're trying to drain it through. And if you don't have enough fall to get to this point, it doesn't do you any good to have the pipe in the ground if you don't have fall. So that's why if we bring the level of 3 pond down a foot or so, which there's riprap there, so hopefully we might have to do some dressing up on it to make it look good. Hopefully we can accomplish some of this stuff. So. I guess, is there any other questions? Obviously, kind of all the way along here, there's some trees that are going to have to come out to accommodate some of this stuff.
Is that never even asked, does the new fairway start, does that go into that fescue grass now, or that longer grass that's there now, or is that?
It's a little bit shy of it. So essentially, where the bend is, well, the white in between it, that is the current fairway. So essentially, it's just kind of continuing off the bend. So there might be just a little bit to,
So the fescue's basically in that triangle of.
yeah,
two dots there.
yep. Not quite to the point of that, but pretty close. That second tee box at 360 yards, I would say it's probably pretty close to that. That tree just to the west of it, I think that tree is actually in the fescue grass, I believe. So, but, I mean, if, we'll just have to bump it back, and then, in the long run, I mean, it's going to be a lot less in play than it is right now, so. The other thing that Norby wanted to do was kind of having a native area between 14 green and the pond and 15 fairway. So that's something that we'll just do down the road if we want to do it. So that's not part of this bidding project. So as of now, we'll just keep it turf and then. So.
That's good.
If you go down to the next one, this is the irrigation expansion to accomplish all this.
Which one?
Start on 11 and 12. Wow, you're there. So It's just trying to accomplish it as efficiently as possible. Some of those are getting eliminated of the current. If you look up on 15 Fairway, you see that box. That's actually going to be expanded, so there'll be a couple extra sprinkler heads towards the pond because the fairway will come out towards the pond a little ways. That'll just help. If we keep it exactly the way it is, that fairway will come quite a ways on the outside of the irrigation line, and that doesn't work real well sometimes, so we're going to put in a couple extra sprinklers there. Otherwise, all the tees, instead of one single row down the middle of them, it's going to be a dual row system. Luckily, we have enough pipe sizing everywhere to make everything work. And at some point, I could tap off this to, when we do the cemetery expansion, I could tap off this to help bring in some of that grass and stuff, so down the road. So, not that we would water it long term, but at least to establish it.
And the plan is, just so everybody's on the same page, those two dotted tee boxes there, once we get the cemetery thing worked out, that'll be a par 5 and those tee boxes will be made.
That is the plan. I'm working on making sure all the logistics are still there for that. Unfortunately, I just didn't have the time to get that done before this meeting. My intent was, I think we're pretty close on finding all the documents and everything that we need. And essentially just making sure it's something we can do before we move forward on it.
To keep 15 as a par 5?
Yeah.
Okay.
So the only caveat to that is we have to dip slightly into the cemetery expansion.
What's yours current, like a trail, be dipping down into cemetery?
The reason for that is, we talked about it it was a couple meetings before, is that as it lays out now, it's a really long par 4 from the back 2 tees. And then you've got essentially a really tough par 4, a reasonable tough par 4 on 16, a tough par 3, and a tough par 4. And the consensus was to do what we can to keep that as a manageable par 5.
I think that's smart. I really do.
But since the golf course doesn't own that spot, they're working on the, how do we get that transferred? So the architect's on board. I mean, everything's ready to go, but we got to jump through the right hoops.
And that bike path back there, that's all going to come out?
Yes,
Okay.
that'll get relocated. So, if we want to just pop up to 11 and 12 here real quick. There again, that's the irrigation layout. And everything new is the stuff in the pink. There was a couple changes right towards the end here. Nothing major, just detail stuff, so. I will be utilizing some of the old irrigation, like up on 11 Green and stuff. That'll still be hooked up, and for when we do take that out, I can reestablish it, and then it'll probably get abandoned at that point.
See you, Dan.
So, anyways. So,
Anything else?
nope, just, as far as this bid, it's gonna go out here real soon. There's, a few, contractors that are gonna be, that are capable of doing the work that will be notified. And then if others wanna apply for it. There is language on there about experience building golf courses and just so you don't get somebody with no experience and whatnot. So I'd say here in another month, we'll maybe have an idea where we're at.
Can't wait.
So,
Can't wait to start digging yourself.
Just give me the golden shovel.
We need is a farmer out there.
I got the equipment.
The planter won't work.
We're gonna make money on this place.
so that's all I really have unless if somebody has questions, so.
It's good, thanks.
Yep.
Next meeting is June 12th. I was right, you were wrong. We're adjourned.